The date is August 17th, 2015. It's your first day back to school since the weekend, and you come back home exhausted. You are eager to get on YouTube and watch your favorite YouTubers, whether it be Sky Does Minecraft, Dan TDM, or maybe some Yandere simulator videos, because that was popular at the time. You see a few videos in your recommendations that fit the bill of what you like to watch, but nothing really catches your eye. Until you find it, the start of a series that would change your childhood forever. Now you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? This is a Minecraft roleplay from 7 years ago that was geared towards children, right? And you wouldn't be wrong for thinking that. But if you compare it to other things like it, it's entirely different. Most Minecraft roleplays at the time had no message you could take away from it. At least most of them didn't. They were just fun stories that you could just sit down and watch. And I couldn't really get into them as a child. But this one is so much more. Not only is it because of the chemistry between all the characters, but it's also because it touches on themes that no other Minecraft roleplays really touched on like it did. It touched on the loss of losing a loved one, dealing with that. It touched on dealing with mental disorders or mental instability. It dealt with debt, it dealt with insanity. But for me to really get you to understand why this matters so much, I'll have to explain. The setting of Yandere High School is a very, very weird one. It's set in this crazy world where crab humanoids exist, pufferfish humanoid exists, Pepe the Frog exists. It's set somewhere in Japan where everyone speaks English for some reason. I say Japan because they use yen, and it looks like a Japanese town. I could be wrong. And it's just this crazy world. But it's so weird that it's fun. Every new element or thing you find out about this world is totally unexpected and just an absolute surprise. And it really just keeps you wondering, like, what's gonna pop up next. And you're viewing this world through the eyes of Samgladiator, or Sam. He is a teenage high school student who's going to this completely normal school. But you know that from the title, something crazy is going to happen. Some Yandere is going to pop up, right? And you watch the first few episodes and some crazy, fun things happen. But nothing like what you expected, right? So for the first 50 episodes, it goes on like this. Around episode 10, I think, if I remember correctly, a character shows up named Yandere, right? And you think, oh, this is going to be, the girl, that she's going to go insane and like something's going to happen and it's going to go completely off the rails. And it does go off the rails, but not in the ways that you think. Some really crazy stuff happens. They meet the Yakuza. Weird things happen, but as far as you can tell, Yandere seems fairly normal. And then episode 50 happens. Episode 50 really changed the way it was going. You see, the setup for episode 50 is that the prom was happening, and the two main characters, the only two who really spoke, outside of like texting in the Minecraft chat, both asked the same girl out to prom. So they both went with the girl. And for some, wacky reason, because, the main character just is completely off the rails, both of them end up dumping her at the prom dance. So now she suddenly has no date. She went from having 2 people to none. And she flips it. She goes insane. It's eventually revealed that her father is the leader of the Yakuza. And she basically threatens Sam, the main character, to go out with her. Or, the Yakuza is going to kill them. And he agrees because he doesn't want to die. And this is when the main character just starts losing it. He was obviously already not quite right. You view this world and everything serious that happens in it through his eyes. Everyone watches in horror. But to him, it's a comedy. Everything's funny. But he just starts to lose it after, being forced to date this girl. His best friend gets hit by a car or a bus, gets sent to the hospital. So his other friend, Green is the same Green, by the way, from Hermitcraft and, Mumbo Jumbo. But his friend Green is forced to dress up and pretend to be Tortoise, which is, his best friend that got hit by a truck. And Green tries to explain like he's not Tortoise, but Sam is not having it, right? He doesn't believe it. He's so far gone that to him, he is Tortoise, right? There's no way Tortoise would be hit by a bus. He doesn't want to believe it. So he starts to threaten Green until Green just starts to kind of lose it too. And just when you think Green's, had enough, right? He's about to snap. Tortoise is brought back from the hospital, except he lost his memory. He has no idea who he is. Sam isn't about to admit that he has been dressing up his other friend as his best friend the whole time. So Tortoise, who is now lost his memory, is now convinced that his name is Jerry, and he's like this new person. While Green is just like, no, that's not how it is. I'm Green, he's Tortoise. And it continues to just go off the rails more and more and more. And it just gets better and better and funnier and funnier. Crazy stuff happens like usual. I could not list every single side plot line that was just off the rails and funny. This video would have to be hours upon hours long for me to go into that much detail. Trust me when I say this is worth a watch if you haven't seen it already and you're into this type of stuff already. But it eventually evolves into something else. The storyline ends and it picks back up in a different town under the name Tokyo Seoul. And that's around when it starts like dropping off. So I won't really go too much into detail with that storyline. I'm going to try and stick to the main essence of Yandere High School itself. But the story is just this insane mosh pit of crazy thing after crazy thing that somehow just all makes perfect sense. And even though these tragic things happen, it still ends up being comedic because you're viewing it through the eyes of someone who finds it comedic. And it's just perfection. It's perfect. The only flaw I would say it has is for it to really wrap up to episode 50. Like I said, that's when it starts to like really go off the rails. You're 50 episodes in, and each of them are around like 20, 25, sometimes 40 minutes, which I think averages out to about 23 and a half hours of screen time before you really get to the good part. Which is fine, I think it's all fun. But it is a lot of watching just to get to the peak of the series, which is sort of a problem. Don't get me wrong though, those first 50 episodes are still 100% worth a watch, okay? It's not like when someone tells you to skip JoJo Part 1 because there's no stands, or it's not like when someone tells you to, skip the first few episodes of My Hero Academia because, the main character is just a loser till he gets his powers. A lot of people are going to get mad at that. It's all good. But that is the only fault I would find with it. And I think that's mainly because the story is improvised. What I think Samgladiator did here is he didn't have a script. He had a rough idea of what he wanted to happen, and he told that to everyone, and kind of like walked through it before they did it. And then as they did it, everything was just improvised. The comedy was done on the spot. And that kind of brings me into my next point of, I know I made it sound like the story was this great masterpiece, and it's not. It's really good. But the main thing that drives the series is the characters. Each and every character is horribly unique. You have every flavor of character there is. You have the main character, who's this mentally unstable from the start, turned sociopath, who is just absolutely hilarious and a blast to see interact with other people. You have the other speaking character, who is this just kind of go with the flow person, just kind of does whatever Sam says. You have the third and final speaking role in the series, Grian, who is this unfortunate soul who just stumbles in at the wrong time and is forced to stay. And then you have the side characters. Even the side characters are able to bring so much to the table, despite them only being able to communicate through Minecraft text chat. You have literally Paul Blart and Pepe the Frog in the series. Paul Blart is one of the schoolgirls' dads, who is also like a beard, like she just has a beard for no reason that's not really explained. You have this fish man who is afraid of people speaking Japanese and will just freak out and like give you all his money if you speak any Japanese to him. You have this nerdy kind of like science guy who is just insanely ripped for no reason. You have this cute little innocent girl who turns out to be a psychopath who is the daughter of the leader of the Japanese mafia. I could just go on and on for days about how each of these characters are brought so well to life and done so well. And as I said before, everything seems improvised. Everything is improvised. So they're just able to bounce off each other with such great chemistry that really nothing else can bring to the table the way this can. It's so fun to watch these characters interact. And the characters and the cast is what brings me back to rewatching this series once every few years. The people who play these characters do it so well, and you can tell they genuinely have a fun time with it, or they had a fun time with it. And that doesn't just show in only the series. It also leaks over into my next part, which is... So, for you to understand the community that was formed around this series, you have to understand the time. This is the time where Vine existed, right? So basically, the community were a bunch of like tween teenagers who were like figuring out themselves and were going through their kind of like emo phase. So you would have these like edits and these like fan arts of like the characters, because everyone really loved this series. Even I contributed, like on Vine, I had an account where I would make edits of, the series and the characters. And it's actually what got me into editing my first ever YouTube videos back in the day, which I wouldn't have made this video without having the editing knowledge or any of the stuff I made. So it really just paved the way, even though I'm a small YouTuber with like 83 subscribers and none of them active. It's just that this series has had such a big impact on my life, and the community has as well. And I remember some of like the cast members of the show were really active within the community. Like they would like and comment on even the smallest vines of these characters, like even just really bad edits, they would like them and they would say great job, and it was amazing. I got to interact with a few of them, and it was like meeting one of your heroes, you know? Looking back on it now, the community is extremely cringe and could not thrive today. But there's still something special about it that I love and will probably never be recreated ever again. But being in that community and existing within that community it was such an amazing experience. And it was so fun, and I would love to relive it. But the memories I have of it are just good enough. So, in conclusion, is this some masterpiece, just 10 out of 10 story with amazing characters and amazing, like, perfect casting? No, it's not. It's a Minecraft roleplay, but it is special, and it is a special place in not only my heart, but literally millions of other people who may or may not even remember the series, but would religiously watch it every day. And I don't know how they were able to produce 20, upwards of even like 40-minute episodes every single day, not usually missing a day. And when they did, it was like a holiday. Or I seriously am blown away at the sheer dedication they had and the amount of love they had for it at the time. And they eventually had a falling out, and the series just went downhill from there. I believe it was due to like pay issues at first, and then it was due to like political issues, which I won't really get into. But it's unfortunate the series had to end the way it did. I wish it went out on a high note, but unfortunately, great things never last. And I know they've all gone their separate ways, but if any cast member at all, whether it be Samgladiator, Green, Tortoise, Yuki, anyone, if any of them are listening to this, I just want to say thank you. I know you've gone your separate ways, but thank you for giving me amazing memories, an amazing childhood. A 10-hour video documentary on the series couldn't explain how grateful I am for this and the sheer dedication you put into it. I wish you all the best on your future endeavors with whatever you want to do. I know Sam is now a actor in, I think it's Korea, it could be Japan. I know Green has now made it big on the Minecraft scene with, being one of the best builders. Tortoise still does Minecraft off and on, and I'm pretty sure Yuki still does Minecraft roleplays. And they're all moving on with what they want to do in their lives, which is great. They should be. But sometimes it's good to take a break and look back on what happened. On the good, on the bad. Growing up can be difficult. Currently, I'm still adjusting to the life of being an adult. It's still not really set in that I am, completely independent yet. But I am. And I feel like you never really grow up. I feel like people just pretend to be adults, when deep down you still love the stuff you loved as a kid. I still love video games. I still love Minecraft. Every few years, I still love coming back to this amazing series and just watching it. Maybe it's the feelings of nostalgia. Maybe I'm wrong about how great it was, and it's just me just latching on to that feeling of nostalgia. Either way, something special was made. And it doesn't matter if it's only me who remembers the series, or if the 3 million people who watch watched it when it first came out remember it. As long as someone remembers it, it will never truly be forgotten.